Hello and welcome to all of you who are joining us for another edition of Travel Times Travel Talk. It's normally held on Thursdays, but this week we have a special edition and we are bringing it to you live on a Monday. Travel Time is a full-service travel agency located in Canada with branches in the US, and we are bringing you different sessions with education and things that people have on their bucket list during this time. And guess what? Cruising is back. Welcome to all of our guests in Great Cruise Finds with Travel Time, and we love to bring you all the special options that we see as time goes by. There are some great offers out there. And when we see something that's too good to miss, we post it in Great Cruise Finds. So you're welcome to join us here and just do a checkup and see what we've posted in the last little while. And keep checking back because there will be some great things coming. And today we have a great session of our live, and we're bringing it to you live from on board the Celebrity Edge. And I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome our colleague and cruise aficionado, Caroline Hay. Welcome, Caroline.
Well, hello from the Celebrity Edge. I was just sitting inside and I thought, you know what? I need to get outside and show what life is like at sea. So my hair is going to be
We're
swirling.
all very, very jealous of you this week, I can tell you.
You know, Lois, honestly, I can't believe I'm on a ship after, for myself, it's been over almost 2 years to the day that I was sailing in the Norwegian fjords, and an opportunity presented itself to me, and I thought, I'm doing it. I'm getting back at sea and chosen the Celebrity
cruising is your
Edge.
thing, correct? I mean,
It is. This is around my 81st. I've lost track of a few, so I've rounded up to about 80 cruises. So I'm somewhere in that area. So
it's amazing.
You know, here I am on the beautiful. You can kind of see the ocean a little bit behind me here in the background, but here I am on, I think, deck 5.
We're live today on our Great Cruise Finds exclusive group, and we're bringing special value and information, hints and tips, and everything that somebody would need to know, whether you've cruised a dozen times or you're a brand new cruiser. We can bring that information and bring value to everybody. So we thought today that this opportunity was really too good to miss, to connect with you live on board the ship so people can see cruising is indeed back.
It is. So typically on the Celebrity Edge, she carries around 2,900 passengers. And on this particular sailing, so I should kind of step back and say this is the 4th sailing out of the North America vicinity with Celebrity. Celebrity Edge is the first ship to set sail from North America 4 weeks ago. So they've had a few weeks. Everything has been going great. The protocols are in place, which I can go through in a few minutes. But it's, we're sailing at about 50% capacity. We have a full listing of crew. I think there's currently, I believe they said just over 700 crew members on board, fully vaccinated. And the ship is
amazing.
Empty. It is amazing. All of this space. So one of the measurements for cruise ships is guest to space or space to guest ratio. And I feel like I'm on my own private yacht. So even though there's 1,500 passengers, the ship is so wonderfully designed that, all of these great little nooks and crannies that you really don't feel that you're with 1,500 or 3,000 people, I would imagine.
It really brings truth to the statement that the early bird gets the worm. People who are willing and able to cruise early are taking the benefits of having this amazing experience.
For sure. And it's let's be clear, it is not for the lighthearted. There are definitely some anxious moments that I went through before boarding, and all of those what ifs running through my mind. As a diehard cruiser, I wanted to put myself in the position of all of our customers to see, what is life like at sea? Is the protocols, or are the protocols that have been outlined by the cruise lines, the Healthy Sail Panel, the CDC, are they working and is it evident? And knock on wood on my on the railing here, everything seems to be ticking along just perfectly. Will there be specific situations? Absolutely. Because there's so much space on the ship, I feel quite safe. I'm, sanitizing my hands constantly. We're not using public restrooms. We're going back to our stateroom, not touching handrails, and, typical things that I would have done previously. I'm just probably a little bit more conscious of it in today's type of cruising. But
Right.
the reality is, for me, I was saying this, I'm sailing with my sister, and I said to her this morning, it doesn't feel that much different, which is surprising, because you can read all of the things, but until you experience it, it truly does not feel fundamentally different than the cruising of the past, which is great news for all of us.
Would you say that the clientele on board are mostly Americans with a few Canadians?
Yes. There are 14 Canadians on board. I don't know how many Canadians actually live in Canada. One of the things that was mentioned to us last night is, while there are 14, there are those clients that are Canadian residents, Canadian passport holders, but perhaps live in the US. So it could just be
it's a very new situation that we can actually go away and come home and not have to quarantine. So that makes it quite understandable to have so few Canadians just now.
Absolutely. Yes, for sure. And the minute that the quarantine, that was a big hold off for me. The minute that quarantine lifted, I booked this. So we booked it, 3 weeks ago.
What would you say is different about the embarkation process from what you're used to?
So one of the new enhancements, so I know that Celebrity has always had an app, and I'm just pulling up my phone just to see if I can pull it up for you. But they now have the Celebrity app, which everyone gets access to. Sorry, I've only got one device connected. And on the app, you can kind of see it here a little bit. It goes the full check-in process. So we uploaded our security photo before we departed Toronto. We checked through uploaded copies of our passports, all of that information of the pre-boarding pieces that normally is done at the terminal is done in advance. So this has really become our little Bible while we're on the ship of things to do. So once we did our online check-in and went through that process, you are allocated a specific boarding time. So when we arrived in Port Everglades at the Celebrity terminal, we had a little stamp on our set sail pass that gave us a time for check-in. So we got there early because, like everybody, I didn't listen to it.
We always used to advise people to go early, correct?
I am not waiting until 4 p.m. to get on that ship. My anxiety was through the roof. So we went a little bit early, and we thought, you know what, let's see what happens. So again, putting all of the things to the tests. And so they were fairly strict and letting us know that we needed to wait until our allocated boarding time. So we did end up getting on a little bit earlier, but certainly one of my learnings would be that time that people select, or the time that is allocated to you, stick to that time, because there's not much seating. There's not much seating. It is hot. We are not used to the Floridian heat. And exactly. And there really isn't, there's no refreshments, anything like that. So that was the first thing. And then once we passed through that first initial gate of going through the time to get into the terminal, we were then asked to present our vaccination certificates, as well as checking our passports and going through to make sure that any of the answers that we had submitted for our health questionnaire 24 hours prior to embarkation, that none of that information had changed. And then from there, we moved into the next stage, which was, again, scanning our passports, making sure our health protocols were, that we were aware of it. Again, checking to make sure that the information we had submitted was correct. And then we were on the ship. So, I mean, I think of check-in at cruise lines with all of those big, lineups and all of the priority pieces. There was no priority. We're sailing in Aqua class, and typically there is a priority line for Aqua, but the only priority lines are for those guests that are sailing in a suite. So for their retreat guests. And then other than that, it was just all according to that specific time. We just walked on as normal.
I'd like to bring out the information that where you specifically said that you had to show your passport and your vaccination record. One of the questions we've been taking at Travel Time is a lot of confusion around what people are naming a vaccine passport, which is a total misnomer. There is nothing about your passport that brings vaccines into the equation. It's the public health record of the vaccines you've received that they're looking at.
Yeah.
So nothing to do with your passport. There's no vaccine passport as such.
No, that's a great clarification. So the passport for just as we normally do when we travel, and then our certificates from our health board is what we had presented.
Right. Yeah. So it was daily life on board. Is it very much different as far as the spaces, the restaurants? What can you say?
So not at all. Everything was fully operational. All of the restaurants, all of the shows are happening. There was a show last night in the main theater. So I didn't go into the show to watch the show, but I did kind of pop our head in. Everything is, allocated as per social distancing guidelines. Went into the casino this morning to have a peek at what's happening in there. And again, the tables are running. The slot machines, every other slot machine has a notice on it saying, please do not use, as we're trying to keep conscious of the distancing rules. There is Purell everywhere on the ship. Every time you come out of an elevator, there is a Purell station. Every time you're moving from zone to zone on the ship. So if you're leaving, the coffee shop to go into the shops, there's Purell stations there, as well as on the entrance and the exit of each of those locations as well. So the shops are going, the casino is running, the theater is active. We were last night, I've never done this before, and it was a hoot, was the silent disco. So that was up, that was happening last night. And like I said, it's not vastly different than what we are accustomed to, which is really incredible. I actually anticipated it to be very different, and they have such a great handle on all of these protocols to make sure that guests on board don't feel a lot of things different. Obviously, there are a lot of different things happening behind the scenes, but from the guest standpoint, it's just wonderful service. Everyone is just so happy to see customers back on board.
One of the things that I will mention, I know that the cleaning protocols and everything are really enhanced and all that sort of stuff, but I can't see how they could keep the ships any cleaner than what we're used to. Yep. And as far as in the staterooms and things like that, I mean, do you see anything any different? Because that was always done so well anyway.
It really was. And, again, preventative measures on each of our side as well as travelers. Some people may or may not be comfortable with it. We have piles and piles of Clorox wipes. I mean, we went to Target and loaded up. And, we just, again, for our own peace of mind, wiped everything down, all of the handles, all of the main touch points in the stateroom. We went through and then just make sure that just for our own peace of mind with those touch points. But, you'll see people out cleaning, doing the handrails. But again, that is a protocol that has been in place far longer. And, I am not, as you know, Lois, I am not an all-inclusive goer. I am a cruiser through and through. And just being here, it just again reiterates the safety behind cruising. And yes, I know it's not for everyone. Obviously, it's for everyone in this particular group. Everyone has, a leaning perhaps towards cruising. But just having that safety in the bubble, knowing that 95+% of passengers on board are fully vaccinated. I found out last night, I think there's 13 odd people that don't have their full vaccination schedule completed. But as the cruise is going on, people are hitting those 2-week marks. So by the end of the week, they said there would be 9. And that's also including children as well. So
I did put one of the notes in the comments here to invite people if they have questions that they could ask, and we would answer them live. I hope that's okay. And
Absolutely.
I see that there's one question there asking about how the buffets are working. So can you speak to that?
Yes, because I've been there a couple times.
Buffets are a very important part of a cruise for many people.
Totally. So a nice enhancement actually to the buffet process. And so you walk in, there is full hand washing stations with warm and hot water, which I think is very important because more often than not, you're on, there's theatrics when it comes to COVID cleanliness, and places have hand washing stations, but there's no warm water. There's soap, so they have full hot water, soap available, paper towels that are just dispensed automatically. It's complete no touch. And so you wash your hands going in, and then you cross through that kind of the door to go into the buffet, and there's another Purell station. They have staff that are monitoring to make sure that people are adhering to the hand washing requirements. And then we move into the free flow area of the buffet. And the way that the Celebrity Edge has it set up is there are stations. So each of the stations are staffed. So, for example, when you would normally go and grab your plates from that big stack of plates and cutlery, now somebody hands that to you. So it's all prepared for you. It's, your napkin and your utensils presented with your plate. And then from there, you just go from station to station and you point out and say, I'd like me this morning, I'd like 3 pieces of bacon, I'd like eggs over medium, and all of it is served. So you don't touch any of the utensils yourself as you're, previously would.
But you still have all the choices.
You still have all of the choices. This afternoon for lunch was everything. There was a Mexican setup. There was the Taste of Delhi, a full Indian option. There's the grill, a huge area for salad bar. And again, you just tell them and they just serve you. It's perfect. I actually love it.
I prefer that always.
Me too. I feel like it's that true luxury experience. As you know, on most cruise ships, in the luxury side, you're served. So in the buffet. So this is, in my opinion, this is a full better enhancement than what we had before, for sure. Yes, cool. And then the drinks are area.
Hopefully that answers the question from the post there. If there's any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat while we have Caroline on the line. And again, for anybody just joining us, we're talking to Caroline Hay. She is this week on board Celebrity Edge. And that's correct, right?
It is. Yes. And I'm just going to, while we're waiting to see if there's any other questions, I'll just spin around and talk a little bit about the difference of the Edge. So I'm just on deck 5 outside of Eden, and you can see up there behind me is the orange piece that's sticking out from the side of the ship. So that is a fully cantilevered venue on the ship. It's called the Magic Carpet, and it's an area that you can sit with lovely, comfortable couches and have some drinks served and just absolutely beautiful ocean views. It's free-flowing air, as well as some areas there that are blocked off, so you don't have hair like myself at the moment. And then I'm just going to scan up just a little bit, and these are actual staterooms that are right above me. And I wanted to point out a huge difference that you can see here is there's no balconies. So before, we're very much accustomed to, stepping out onto our balcony. But if you notice here, there are no balconies. Oops, let me get that back up there. So what does that mean? So the top segment of that window actually comes down. And so they're calling them the infinity balconies. So it is absolutely so cool because it's all automated. And in our staterooms, and I'll post a picture because I've taken a picture of what it looks like on the inside. You just press a button, the window drops, and then you have this beautiful French balcony. So there's chairs there. It's, again, completely unobstructed ocean views. And again, a little bit of a different take on the traditional type of balconies that are available. There are traditional balconies available on the aft staterooms, but all of these kind of midship staterooms and suites have the infinity balconies.
Very interesting. So great. Thanks for explaining that, because sometimes we kind of get locked into the same terminology and expect, to expect the same kind of physical layout, which is not always the case on these new ships. Right. There's lots of great innovations.
For sure. And it actually feels like the cabin is that much larger because you don't have those big, huge doors that you have to open.
So that space is inside the room, and then you open the window to experience the outside.
Yes. Yeah. And like I said, I'll post in this chat as well a photo of what it looks like from the inside with the French doors opened.
Okay. Yep. So is there anything about your cruise experience that you feel you're missing now that would have been something that was important to you before?
No. Yesterday I'm actually, I would be hard pressed to find a negative so far. And again, we realize it's not for everyone yet. Not everyone will be 100% comfortable, but I truly hope that me coming on sets, if some people are quote unquote on the edge, not literally on the edge, but just unsure if should I or should I not, I say go for it. There are incredible offers. There are such great benefits to cruising over the next few months. And I truly, truly feel that it is a viable option for Canadian travelers, and certainly for the US travelers. Now, where I'm from in Ontario, on Friday, we have just been permitted to eat inside a restaurant. So I will say coming on board and ditching our masks was a little bit of a weird moment. Mm-hmm. And, for the first day and a bit, I had my mask hanging from my wrist because it was like something was missing, because we've lived with a mask for so long and still very much required in my everyday life. So that I would say, again, it's all of those little adjustments. I'm so thankful that we don't have to wear a mask 24/7 or while we're in the public areas. And the reason for that is because of the vaccination protocols to come on board as well. Crew is, like I said, 100% vaccinated. I met the Captain Kate, who is famous in her own right, with just over 2 million.
I follow her on Instagram. She has some amazing
followers. Yeah. So keep watching her Instagram, because I'm really hopeful that we'll be on it. We brought her some Canadian treats because she's always talking about that. Yes, and so we met with her again this morning to present our little package to her, and she is just so lovely and authentic. And being a captain of a cruise ship is, the tone is set from the captain down, and she is so gracious and so lovely and authentic, and you can see that is fully represented within every single crew member that I've approached. If you're passing somebody in the hallways, they're just so happy to see guests on board, and just good morning, good afternoon. Everybody's asking, how is your experience? So truly, truly engaged with the guest experience while we're on board as well, from cabin stewards right up to the captain.
We know there is quite a bit of a difference in the feeling and aptitude for travel right now between US and Canadian clients. Correct. And we understand that. It has to do with the vaccination levels. It has to understand, it has to do with the protocols and where things have been lifted already versus not. And, our vaccination rates have been really good, but we're behind the numbers, that were done earlier from the US. So people have been ready to travel. American travelers have been ready for quite some time. Canadians are just getting there. People such as yourselves will be the trailblazers. So thank you for doing that and sharing your experience with us.
No problem. And there's a couple, I was just going to say, just on that point as well, and just on your own personal situation. There has been, 3 times, I'm on day 2, day 3, that I've asked people to back up or to move to the side because I felt that they were too close to me. So I have no problem, can you take your picture over there? Or I've removed myself from the situation because it's exactly what you said. Just people's levels are at various degrees.
Right. Yeah, and that's perfectly okay. We understand and can accommodate that. And for our clients from Travel Time, we do have some people who are sailing next month, but many more of our clients and people that are reaching out to us are interested in some of those really great rates and dates that we've been posting for 2022. And
yes,
as a company, we're perfectly okay with either. We understand that people's comfort levels needs to be their own, and they own that experience. And if you're going to be anxious, maybe it's better to wait until 2022 rather than sailing right now. But your experience this week is showing us that it is possible for those that want to do it and are ready to do it.
Yes, absolutely. Hands down. Again, it all goes back to that personal level of, kind of where everyone's at. Protocols are changing. Policies are being updated literally still by the hour, by the minute, by the day. And, certainly, Lois, you and your team have your finger on the pulse. You know exactly what's going on at any.
We are watching all that news. And when we have travelers booked, we keep watching for those destinations or those experiences to be able to advise of what any changes that may be necessary. And in this group, Great Cruise Finds, we're bringing all of the very best specials. We're part of Virtuoso, which is an amazing luxury experience, and it brings additional benefits and sometimes really, really beneficial rates to our guests. So people who get to take advantage of that, it's often the best ones are if you can be a little flexible in the time frame of your travel dates and take advantage of that when they come along. But we're really jealous of you. I'll say it once more. Would love to be experiencing the Edge this week, and I know that I was invited as well, and it was a touch and go, but I had other commitments, so sometime soon I do hope to be on board as well.
I feel like it's going to be soon. And Lois, let me leave you with the beautiful blue ocean you can see behind me.
There's nothing like it, is it? For somebody who's a cruiser and watching this, I'm sure that they're just yearning for the day when they step foot on board a ship again and have those great experiences that you're having this week.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me. And hopefully, again, I'm in the group, so if anyone has any additional questions, I'll watch this thread and answer any questions that come up.
Thank you so much. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Lois.
Bon voyage for the rest of it. Take care.
Bye.